Well, it is a scene here of chaos, really, and confusion. There's a lot of mechanical equipment clearing rubble. We'll just walk you in now. This is an area in central Beirut. It's a residential area. To the side of me here, you can see the buildings, the blocks of flats where people would have been living. And here, as we come around here, this is the residential, or one of the residential buildings that was targeted. And you can see it's just been completely collapsed. Just a mass, really, of rubble now. This is as far as we're able to go in at the moment, because there are fears that some of the other buildings around here could collapse. So the search and rescue teams have actually pulled back from this area. But there are fears, there are still people trapped underneath the rubble. But I was speaking to some of them earlier, and they say realistically the chance of finding any more survivors is really very, very remote indeed. But the thing to bear in mind about this place is that we are not in the southern suburbs of Dahir. We're not in the Hezbollah stronghold. People had come to this area from the southern suburbs because they thought it would be relatively safe, but that has all changed now. So there's a great deal of confusion and panic here. We've watched people come out, leaving with their suitcases to try and find safety in other places. And that sound of the Israeli drone above us is just constant as well, which is quite unnerving for many people. We'll just move in past this bulldozer, and you can see here the extent of the damage. Perhaps you can make out, if we look past where we think the airstrike, the centre of the airstrike, it's still smouldering over there. But more than 100 people have been injured, some of them very seriously, now being treated in hospital. Now, the reports are that the target of this was a Hezbollah leader called Wafiq Safar. According to sources, Hezbollah sources, he has survived this assassination attempt. But clearly the Israeli campaign to decapitate Hezbollah is continuing. Whether it has an effect on the level of the resistance in the south of the country remains to be seen. We understand there's still very, very fierce fighting there. But at the moment, they're trying to clear away this. The chance, as I was saying, the chance of finding survivors extraordinarily remote.
Alex, just talk us through a bit more of the mood. I know you've been getting there this morning and going through the rest of Beirut to get to that location. What has been the mood of what is, I think you said earlier, the most deadly attack specifically on Beirut so far?
Yeah, I mean, people are very, very frightened about what is coming next. They fear that the Israeli invasion is expanding in the south of the country. They've seen these attacks now in Beirut. This one, as I was saying, in central Beirut. It's not a Hezbollah stronghold. People had come here because they thought, people who've been displaced from other areas of the city had come here because they thought it was safe, but clearly that is not the case. So people are very, very worried, very, very anxious indeed about what will come next in this conflict. And at the moment, of course, it shows no sign of ending. I mean, people are very, very aware of that. And it's been going on now for, more than a year. Many people from the south have been displaced. Beirut as a city is it's a vibrant place ordinarily, but at the moment it's desperately broken. You travel along the Corniche by the Mediterranean, normally a beautiful place where lots of Lebanese people go to walk or run in the morning, but it's just crowded now with displaced people living in makeshift tents who've had to move from the south of the country. More than 1 million people have been displaced as a result of the fighting. So, you can understand people are very, very anxious, very concerned about what comes next, but also very, very frightened.
On that note, Alex, I mean, obviously we covered extensively the way in which the British government urged all British nationals to evacuate Beirut entirely. What is the guidance now in and around these previously less dangerous parts of Beirut to the locals?
Well, I mean, that's a question that people are asking. It's, you know, where do you go that is safe? I spoke to one family that were living. They were in one of the buildings just behind where the digger is working, and we saw them coming through the smoke with their suitcases. And I asked them, where are you going to go now? And they said, well, they're going to go somewhere near the sea where there are no buildings. And they're going to set up, they're going to try and set up a tent and some shelter there and stay there. I mean, the guidance to people, to Western nationals, as you were saying, is to leave Lebanon as soon as possible. The airport is still operating. Various countries have laid on flights. There are still commercial flights available, although getting a seat is becoming very, very difficult indeed. But in terms for Lebanese, I mean, the advice is to keep moving, and that's what people are doing. If it, you know, in areas that were safe that are no longer safe, you need to leave. The other thing to bear in mind is that Israel as well is also putting in place evacuation orders. In Dahir, this is the Lebanese stronghold in southern Beirut. They put in place 2 evacuation orders last night, telling people to leave those areas, get at least 500 meters away. But as we have seen in previous strikes, even if you follow the evacuation orders, there really is no guarantee of safety.